Splashdown. We've just had splashdown. The astronauts are home. Nicholas Gibbs, what do you think?
USA, USA.
so, so here's my question. Apparently, Boeing was never going to rescue them. So if it wasn't for Elon, would they have had to turn to the Russians?
Oof, that damn Nazi.
Man, I'm telling you, and Elon's getting such grief from the world, and yet he was the only guy right now that could really go get those people down. And as it was, they were almost at record time of being in space, which is not good on the bones.
Nope. I didn't even see them come out. I saw them getting the stretchers out.
Yeah, I understand that there was dolphins all around, so the dolphins were enjoying the little party that was going on.
Oh yeah, it's Florida, man. We got dolphins everywhere. Come on down.
I know all about it. I've been on many a little sea voyage off of Maui and also here in Southern California with bottlenose and spinners and all kinds of them having a great old time. Yeah, it's lots of fun.
Nice. Yeah, no, today should be a day that we're celebrating as Americans, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, the news is dominated by vandalism, violence, and vitriol.
I know. I know. It's a sad situation when you have these people doing all these things. Just and the saddest part of all, I've talked about a little bit on X today, is where are the individuals on the left condemning it and telling people to stop it? Just stop it. Is there
Can't be found.
can't be found. Not one. Not Schumer, not AOL, not any of these people.
I mean,
AOC,
even
whatever her name is.
closer to home. Do you see Rohan saying anything?
No, no,
I don't.
no.
He just wants to keep telling Farzad that his predictions about Trump's approval rating going up are going to be wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's all he cares about.
That's it. That's it. And here we have
Yeah.
Trump at 50%, where he's been pretty much he's been 50 to 53 pretty much since he came into office, according to Rasmussen, which is the only decent pollster left. And the Democrats, according to even CNN and NBC, I think it was, are down around 27% approval, an all-time record low, but they keep doubling down.
It is bewildering, isn't it?
It's
And it's they think that that's what their base wants,
I
and
I can't figure it out.
I don't get it. I mean, you're seeing all the same clips I see where CNN will talk about, they'll do their polls and they'll be like, much to our surprise, and it's like, why is this surprising to you guys? Like, if all your messages are about hate and fear and everyone's Hitler or racist or Nazi, or like there's a certain point where people just get tired of that type of messaging. And again, like now you've got people drawing not or swastikas on Teslas, and who do you think most people who own a Tesla or Cybertruck are?
Well,
They're Democrats.
they're Democrats. Yeah, the ones that most for the most part so far. Yes, 60,
I,
70.
I would
Yeah.
I would tell you I would say 90% of people who own a Cybertruck are Democrat or were a
Okay.
Democrat. I mean,
Oh
it's
man.
insane.
Well,
It's
yeah, I
insane.
know. It just drives me nuts. All right, so Dan Ives he's finally thrown in the towel. Dan Ives is like, okay, Elon, you need to come back to Austin. You need to put down the Doge sword, and you need to, I'm trying to come up with some things like he would say it, all colorful. So you need to come back to the mothership, and you've done what you needed to do. Those other people can take care of it from here. His investors that he's talking to on the phone are getting frustrated. He's not negative on Tesla. He hasn't changed his price target. He just thinks it's time. What do you say?
Um, Honestly, I find Dan Ives to be fake. Maybe is the only word that comes to mind. I've said this many times.
Okay. I knew
It,
you were a big fan, but
well, it's just I don't like it when someone sits there and says that we need the grown-ups in the room and Elon's not the grown-up, and then all of a sudden the stock starts going back up, and all of a sudden, oh, now I'm on board again, and it's like I don't know. I don't like the
all right. But what about your
flip-flopping.
feelings? What about your feelings about whether he needs to finish Doge before he comes home, or does he need to, you know, think that he's okay on Doge and make a show of returning to the nest to mollify the investors?
I think that we need to grow up, and I think we need to be fine without Elon being there 24/7. They've got a great team. They're constantly out there, constantly talking. We just got approval in California for the beginnings of a series of approvals for robotaxis, where they'll be having employees being driven around. We are making progress. We have vehicles that should be coming out soon. June's coming up. What is Elon going to do in Texas? What's he going to do in Austin? Like, where's the additive? Elon isn't a traditional CEO. Elon goes to where the problems are. And I think if he's has enough time to work on Doge, that tells me that there's probably not a lot of problems right now with Tesla. It's just things take time. It takes time to set up lines. It takes time to test lines. It takes time to validate robotaxis. It takes time to get approvals. So I think we need to grow up and stop thinking that we need our pacifier every 2 seconds that, looks like the world's ending.
So we have technology. I've heard of there's some very unusual technologies out there where if they needed to show him something on a line someplace, I don't know, some people have these phones and they have video cameras in them, really, really, really good video cameras that can do close-ups and far away and everything, and can do it live. And I mean, I've heard of them. Do you have one? Do you have one of those? I have one. I'm special.
I don't know. I don't know. Those seem kind of crazy.
So it seems to me that if he's really needed to help solve a problem, that most of it could be done with the technology that we have. And I'm guessing that if he felt like he needed to be in place and sleeping on the factory floor for a couple of days, he'd get in his jet plane and he would be in Austin for a couple of days, and then he could return after he's done.
And but like again, let's just be logical here, which is the thing nobody is ever able to seem to do whenever they're losing their money or the value of their
Right.
net worth is going down, which I get. Listen, when people say that you shouldn't be emotional, I used to be one of those people that thought like, oh, okay, we got to learn not to be emotional. Look, that's impossible. You're
Right.
always going to have feelings. The question is, can you, instead of having unhinged, uncontrolled emotion, can you think and logic through your emotions and not make decisions based on your emotions?
Right.
Look, you're always going to be happy when we're hitting all-time highs.
Right.
And you're
Right.
always going to feel like not great when we're going through what we're going through. But Randy, if I still have permissions to share my screen, which I do,
You do. Yes.
let me show you why everyone freaking out is idiotic. I agree with we need to do something, or we have a issue with vandalism, vitriol, and
Right.
violence against Tesla uh, showrooms and Tesla vehicles in general.
Right.
I also don't think that's as big as it may appear to be.
Right.
I think it's kind of like the news where you have 1 in 1,000 and that gets a lot of
Right.
coverage.
Right.
So with that said, everyone's freaking out because obviously the stock's down,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay. Well, let me show you something here,
Sure.
Randy, that I think you'll find interesting.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. Hopefully it's big on
It
their end.
looks good.
Perfect. Look at this. This is the stock chart over the last 6 months for
Right.
TSM.
Hmm.
All right, Taiwan Semiconductor.
Hmm.
This is Tesla's. Looks
Hmm.
kind of similar, doesn't it?
Kind of looks the same. Yeah.
This is Netflix. Kind of similar. Had a little bit of a correction.
Yeah.
Good for Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, but not Meta.
No.
Oh, but not Coin.
Right.
Oh, but not App Lovin'. Oh, not Apple.
Yeah.
Oh, and not the spy.
Right.
So my point is, this isn't a Tesla specific issue.
Right.
It hurts more with Tesla because Tesla has a higher beta.
Right.
And odds are most of your viewers, most of us, are heavily invested into Tesla. And for someone like Dan Ives, I don't know if he prides, but his whole shtick is that he's the guy out there kind of making bold claims. He likes, I don't know if he likes attention, but his outfits would tell me he likes attention. He tries to be flamboyant and out
Oh,
there.
what are you saying?
You're not even close, Randy. But I think he wants to be a market mover the way Tom Lee is and make good prediction like the way Tom Lee is.
Right.
I think
Right.
a lot of people do,
Right.
but he's not. And I think it's just unbecoming of a analyst or a fund manager whenever you're out there crying like this. Welcome to Tesla. Welcome to Elon Musk. If it's not this, it's him buying Twitter. It's him selling shares.
Right.
It's
Right.
pedo guy. It's what I mean. You go on and on.
They'll find something. Yeah. Yeah.
Get used to it. This is part of the game, and in reality, it's the entire market. It's not just Tesla. So we need to be
Exactly.
sober about this and be intellectually honest.
And if we look back and we look at Twitter, which we had the Twitter overhang, apparently, as it was called,
Yeah, another fool.
the Twitter deal turns out to be a pretty good deal, not just for the world, but I think for Tesla. Elon
Yeah,
has twice as many followers as he had when he bought it. The thing has come back up in value. There's no more fear of him having to sell shares to bail himself out.
no, it's
And
profitable.
it's a benefit, I think, in general, to have this as part of the Elon Musk ecosphere with regard to all the other companies. So I
Yeah.
think it turned out well. With regard to Doge, I think he sees it as necessary in order for Tesla to have a great future. That if
I
the
agree.
US goes down the tubes financially, it's not going to help Tesla.
I couldn't agree more.
All right, so maybe we'll look back 9 months from now when the stock, we know in 9 months the stock will be at 700 plus plus, because that's what I say it's going to be. So,
Do, any change in those numbers, Randy?
nope, not a nickel. It's exactly the same because my numbers are based on my assumptions about 2026, because theoretically the market is looking 6 months out. So I'm looking at my numbers for 2026 and beyond, and I'm saying that 600, 700 is like automatic, and plus plus is based on the same things the Robotaxi and Optimus revealed. So there you go.
Can I don't know what you have next on the docket here, but let me just say a quick just what's on my mind right now with the markets and everything. I talked about this last week either with you or with Herbert. I can't remember. Um, just
We look so much
it all
alike.
blends together.
No,
Yeah,
we do look alike. Yeah.
I know. Just beautiful, radiant locks of hair and just I'm out. Okay, sorry. I won't drag that out. Um, my perception of the market right now is that we actually have a very healthy economy. I think we actually have a very healthy economy. I think it's so healthy that it's been able to get by with a lot of BS and a lot of fat on it. So it's almost like I don't know, an athlete that just happens to be really good but has some fat on him,
I
but he's
see.
so good that it's almost irrelevant.
I see. Mhm.
Now, that's eventually going to catch up with the athlete and it's eventually going to catch up with our economy. And to really get the economy going, we need rates down, not up.
Right.
And we are playing a dangerous game with us having to refinance a lot of our debt at a higher rate,
Right.
which would be bad. So we also need rates down for that. And so the White House, no matter who is going to be in the White House, is going to have to contend with this.
Right.
And so right now we've got a lot of tariff talks. We will find out tomorrow what Jerome Powell is going to do, what they project.
And you think?
I think they're going to hold steady, but they're going to forecast maybe one extra cut.
Okay,
It
so
doesn't matter. It's going to be wrong.
no cut, but a dovish position.
Correct. Yeah, I assume we're going to talk about this more in a little bit. If we not, we
We
should.
can, yes, yes.
But so what I think is happening right now is that this whole overreaction has more to do with uncertainty over tariffs than anything.
Mm-hmm.
The market, we know, it doesn't like uncertainty. It's not breaking news here. What's interesting to me is after tomorrow, we are what, 2 weeks away from April 2nd.
Yes.
Based on what I know today on, what's today, March 19th?
Mm-hmm.
March 18th.
Yeah.
March 18th. What I know today is that on April 2nd, the reciprocal tariffs will be placed. After that, I believe this whole tariff issue is over.
Pretty much.
Because it is what it is at that point. The only thing that will change is if tariffs come down, I would say. Or I guess if there's retaliatory tariffs.
There could be. I think by then, I agree with you. Bessent said today he thinks it could take another month or so after that, where there'll be some jiggling around, people making decisions. But yeah.
Yeah. So let's just call that April.
Right.
Let's say it's April.
Mm-hmm.
I think all this is over by the end of April, by early May.
Mm-hmm.
By early May, I think, and honestly, I think earlier, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I think earlier, because to your point, I think the market will try to get ahead of some of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm hoping, I don't know, no one ever knows, but it seems like we might be on the tail end of this sell-off. It also seems like the sell-off is kind of losing steam. And there's going to be a point where people need to start deploying capital because people need to do something, right? They need to show a return for the year.
Right.
So at some point, it has to happen. So I think we're close to the end of this. I think that April 2nd is going to be a welcome day for the markets. It might be a crazy day,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll know that the worst should be behind us and that we should have the market should have clarity. And then we can stop talking about tariffs and we can move on to something else.
So I don't know why I didn't do this sooner, because I know I thought of it earlier, but I was like, how much of an impact are we really talking about with these tariffs? What are we really talking about in terms of potential price increases? Not inflation, but potential price increases, transitory price increases. So I finally went and looked it up. Which is not shocking, actually.
0.25%, right?
Well, we're looking at 14% of the economy is imported, 40% of the GDP. 14, that's actually kind of a high number. That was higher than I might have said. And about 11% exports. Okay, so we're not talking about nothing. But if we have 14% of the economy that's imported, and let's say that the tariffs net aggregate was 10%, which I don't think it will be, a positive. I mean, if it was 10%, that'd be a lot of income for the U.S. government. That would be kind of cool. I don't think it'll be anywhere close to an aggregate net 10% of all imports that we get to tariff that we tariff. So that would be 1.4% raise in prices. So if we're sitting on 2% this year and over the next 12 months, it goes up 1.4 additional, we could have a 1-year situation where it's above the Fed's target, but maybe not, because these things tend to adjust themselves out.
But here's the thing. That I think would be true in a vacuum.
Yes,
but we don't live in a vacuum. And between what Doge is doing, to be honest, what the tariffs are really doing more than anything, it's sucking money out of the market. It's re-rating everything, much like what we saw in 2022.
Right.
I don't care what you say, Randy. Housing prices are coming down. It's coming down. They are.
It's March 19th. The season has just begun.
All this is slowing the economy because people are on a pause. People don't feel as rich as they did.
Right.
And you can say that not everybody's in the market. Listen, the people who are actually moving the market and doing a lot of spending, they're in the market, in
Right.
my opinion, my estimation.
Right.
Um, but they feel less rich.
Mhm.
So that's a huge percent of the economy that maybe isn't spending as much. Maybe they're tightening the belts a little bit more, hunkering down because they don't know what they don't know. Right?
Right.
That's typical. For all we know, we could go down another 50%. We have
Right.
no idea.
Right.
And so guess what? People aren't taking out big loans right now. I don't know a lot of people who are saying like, let's go buy a house right now when we just saw, however much of our net worth disappear. Like people are maybe not completely in austerity mode, but they're slowing down. They're
Right.
not making any crazy decisions. And so
Right.
that has a ripple effect on inflation.
Sure.
Add in Doge.
Right.
I think that it more than nets out. I think that without a doubt we are at 2 or under 2
Right.
well before the end of the year.
Yeah, me too. And do you
Oh,
think
really?
so? Oh yeah. And so,
Can't
I
do that.
asked.
I think I finally have a hot take here, and you're like, yeah, me too.
No, oh no, I definitely.
Can't
I
I
said
can't
this morning.
can't get one
I
on you.
said this morning. I said this morning on my show. Inflation is over.
I agree. Could not agree more.
Inflation is over. It's not an issue going forward. What about the economy though? I said this morning, so I'll let you respond. I said this morning, I think that we are not in a recession yet. I'm sorry, we are not negative GDP yet, but we will probably be negative GDP in the second quarter, and then sometime in the third quarter we'll turn around. So who knows how the third quarter ends, positive or negative, but that's it. From there on, it's like this.
Um, yeah, I mean, I could buy that. Yeah, end of second quarter, early third quarter. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I see
takes
that.
off, just goes crazy. Yeah. All right. So are we forming? You talked about Tesla as being, you know, not that dissimilar from the rest of these stocks. We know that the Mag 7 was heavily down again today. Do you think that this is do we think the double bottom that we were playing around with today is it for Tesla, or do you think it goes down another leg?
Um, what do I think? I think we've got 2 big risks ahead of us that could send us lower. Um, like if we were higher, if we were at like 250, 260, I would
Uh-huh.
think we're probably pretty good. But we're so close to the recent low at 215, 217. Um, that 2 risks right now that don't give us a lot of room from that recent low.
Mhm. Mhm.
We have tomorrow
Mhm.
with Jerome Powell. I think it's gonna be kind of a nothing burger, but I think you're gonna see a lot of movement leading up to it and everything. The other one is April 2nd will be
Right.
deliveries.
Right.
And I don't know. We'll see what happens there. So that, or I guess that could be the other thing that really drops us.
Okay.
After, again, April 2nd is so big because April 2nd, if their deliveries are not that bad,
Mhm.
or if the tariffs, reciprocal tariffs go on and most of it's already been negotiated ahead of time to either lower or raise or, just call it a truce,
Mhm. Mhm.
April could be a great month. So that's kind of like, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think again, I'm pretty much in alignment with you. I'm having a hard time figuring out which way it might go. If I was day trading right now, I would probably be not trading the next couple of days. And then I'd be deciding, how things look. Because right now, I think it's a little, it could go easily either way in the next day or two, and I'm not sure I would be able to pick a direction. But eventually,
Yeah.
as we just talked about, for the long term, folks, I think it's going to be. I put out a tweet today, or I'm sorry, a post on X, and I said, um, either there's a robo taxi event later this year and people are able to drive their car while they sleep, and or there's going to be an Optimus event later this year, early next year, where they're going to reveal the pricing and everything about it, when it starts to ship and all that kind of stuff. Either those things are going to happen or they're not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are. would be willing to bet. I have a bet that that's going to happen. But if they happen, we're either 10 or 100x, up after those two events over time. And therefore, I don't really care. I don't honestly just I don't care that much what happens in the next, 2 weeks or 2 months. It's really all about those two events.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, I don't know. Everyone's got to do what's right for them. But
Yep.
what I would be really worried about if I was anyone shorting this market
Right.
or trying to get too cute with any, like, if you have Tesla and you're trying to sell covered calls on them, what I would warn people about getting too cute with that is we have yet to have a real bounce in this
Mhm.
market
Mhm. Mhm.
since all this has happened.
Mhm.
You're going to get your face ripped off.
Yeah.
You're either going to, you think you're smart and you think you're going to sell cover calls at $300 and man, we're so far away. Tesla, if you even if you have a weekly covered call, Tesla can do that in less than a week.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh yeah.
got to be careful.
Yeah.
And so, look, and maybe you've been doing it this whole way down and you feel like a genius. There's a certain point where you flip that coin, you got heads, 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 heads. Quit while you're ahead. I just, again, it's not financial advice, but everything just seems a little like it's coming. It's going to come. There's going to be a relief. I'm not saying we're not going to not keep going down, but there's going to be a point where there's going to be a relief in the markets.
Okay, so I never talk about the competition, but today or this week, kind of, maybe the last 7 days, there's been quite a few competitive situations out there that I thought maybe we should address today. So I'm just going to take these three. What do you think about the fact that NVIDIA is partnering with GM to do their ADA, to do their
Yes.
automated driving?
I think that's they're pretty far behind.
That
If they're
even if
still deciding what, I mean, GM's the company of headlines, Randy. Headline announcements. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. I actually said that headline would make me want to short NVIDIA because every time they've chosen a partner lately, it's been bad for the partner
Yeah.
and bad for them. Um, how about the bots? So many different bots that it seem to be doing really cool stuff. Figure and one today I forget the brand. Doing dancing around like way better dancer than me. So what do you think about all these bots that have all these capabilities?
I love seeing it. What's even louder to me, the loudest what I see when I see everyone showing their bots and everything, to me, it's just the silence of Tesla is deafening. It's just screaming at me how silent they are, which makes me think they're cooking something up. Their Gen 3 Optimus is like, there's a reason they're not showing anything.
Yeah, okay.
They're not. I don't know. It seems a little too
Quiet.
stealth mode. Yeah. So I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe they're just saying we don't need to waste time on videos, but I think it's intentional. I don't think it's by accident that they're not, because there was a minute there where they were, putting releases out like,
Yeah,
every like week, 2 weeks,
yeah.
and then Elon talked about how people are copying them, and all of a sudden it just stopped.
Yeah, yeah. Not so nice.
So, but we saw the hand though,
Yeah.
but that's all we saw.
So the third one was BYD's new 1,000 kilowatt hour charger.
What do you think?
I think that Tesla was planning to come up with a 500 kilowatt charger, which if they do, I'm going to guess that'll bring the time to charge down to about 10 minutes. Theirs would be 5 minutes. And I think that Tesla has way more opportunity to take advantage of deploying their 500s than BYD will of their 1,000. And I also don't know the technology well enough to know whether the cars that are already on the street can even handle the 1,000.
Yeah, I think yes, there's it's a great headline, and I think over time you're going to see um, charging times get faster and faster. But I'm not sure how scalable it is right now.
Mhm.
For this, I mean, you got to start at some point, right?
Right, right.
Um, I would say Tesla doesn't tend to be the first
Mhm.
to any of these things, but they do tend to be the first ones to pick the right technology for scale, if that makes sense.
Right.
So this doesn't surprise me, and I believe it's only for some of their high end vehicles that this will be the case, which that tells you a lot there that it's not the most cost effective thing to do. So let's see what happens there. Good for them. You want as a Tesla investor, you actually should be happy about this because you want someone else pushing the boundaries for Tesla.
Mhm.
Tesla needs competition. Otherwise, you just become like Apple, where you just get complacent. But the other thing too is, look, most people charge at home, and as we get more and more into a robotaxi world, the real question is, do you even think about charging
Mhm.
unless you're on a road trip?
Mhm.
And so that becomes a question mark. Like where's the cost, benefit of it? Yeah, there's a market out there where people will be like, yeah, I'll take 5 minutes over whatever because I do a road trip once every, I don't know
Yeah.
how, I mean, everyone has their own driving patterns, but we probably take like a big road trip, maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would it be nice to be able to charge up to 5 minutes? Yeah, sure. Would I be willing to pay an extra 10, 15 grand for that?
No,
No.
not a chance.
Exactly. So it just depends.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm happy they're doing that because we need to push the boundaries of technology. But again, I think in a robo taxi world where that's irrelevant, right? You don't have to worry about that. And then and then when you day to day just charge your house, how important is it? And plus, you wouldn't even be able to do that at your house.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, taking a hard right turn,
oh,
as a person who spent 29 years of my career in manufacturing, it is pretty darn exciting to start to see manufacturing coming back in the United States. It's exciting for, I think, three reasons. The number one reason is one I've been talking about for, I think, a year now, and that is the strategic necessity for both military and the economy, that you don't want to be beholden to these other countries. Not just China. You don't want to even be beholden to Canada. I mean, they just cut off the electricity to Buffalo, right? So you don't want to be beholden to other countries for your strategic needs any more than necessary, any more than some kind of reasonable amount. Number two, which is something that I know and I've known, but it was kind of brought home to me today in a somebody's post, I think on X, or maybe it was a video I was watching. The middle class used to make their money on manufacturing. You don't pay the middle class nearly as much to move paper around a desk as you do to have them go into a manufacturing facility and learn a skilled trade. So by bringing back manufacturing, especially in these skilled areas, especially in a world where the skill level is going to be much higher because it'll be a lot of computerized operations and a lot of technical, even higher technical capabilities, we're going to be bringing back the middle class. And so that seems to me to be a really good thing. And then third would just be the future. Everybody's worried about how are you going to feel good about, your purpose? How's that gonna work out for you? Well, we talked about robots taking over everything. I don't think they're gonna take over seriously everything in manufacturing. I think there will still be a pretty significant role for humans. But anyway, there's my three reasons.
No, I agree with you. I personally don't think that I don't think it's gonna be the way people think it is with humanoids. Like this is where I disagree with Elon. I think it's gonna be a long time before humanoids are actually having a big impact on humans. Um, I mean, again, like everyone was all excited about ChatGPT and all that, and I don't think it's replaced one human being. Um, it might have made some people a little more efficient.
Oh, some people are very much more efficient.
Yeah, and so maybe you don't need to hire that extra person. You can just give more work to that other individual. So on the margins, maybe, but even then, with like humanoids, I think they're going to be doing a lot of different jobs. Like there's so many jobs that humanoids could do that we don't really doesn't take a lot of current jobs, like clean your house.
No,
All right, like yeah, there's cleaning companies out there, and there'll probably continue to be cleaning companies out there because they'll probably get cheaper, or people don't want to pay X amount for a humanoid. But if you have a humanoid clean your house, most people don't have a maid.
yeah,
So it's not like you're taking over the maid's jobs,
right,
you know?
yeah,
And even then, maybe you still want to have your house with a deep clean, or some, I don't know. Like, there might still be things. Most people don't have chefs at their house,
right,
so it's not like it's
right,
replacing the chef,
right.
So, I mean, you can make the argument for, though, just to play devil's advocate here on myself. You could say, well, very low hanging fruit is Optimus could cut your grass,
Yeah,
and then you put people out of work. Yeah, true. But the reason people pay lawn services is because they don't want to have to buy the lawnmower. They don't want to have to maintain the lawnmower. And so it's easier just to pay someone. So I don't think that'll happen. So I mean, there's a lot, right? Even with clean people, like some people don't want to have to buy all of the special cleaning for a real deep clean. So they'll still bring someone in every once in a while just to do that because they don't have to have
yeah.
XYZ product that they only use once a month, and now they just bought it and it's going to last them for another 15 years because they're never going to get through all of it,
Mhm.
right? So I think there's a lot of trade-offs.
Or the
um
person that's doing the cleaning brings the bot with them, and the bot makes allows them to do twice as many jobs, twice as many cleaning jobs a
Very
day.
good point.
Yeah,
Or and the lawn company too, right?
right.
That's a very good point. Yeah, very good point. So I think you'll see the bots be more introduced to society more in that way, rather than just displacing people right away. And those type of jobs, I think, are so abundant, and I think are the lowest hanging fruit that exists, especially in the home. I know that Tesla's going to start in the factory, and I think that is more so because it's going to take time before humanoid can do things in your house, right?
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot it needs to learn.
Figure says they're going to have them in the house, have them working some jobs in homes by the end of this year. And I'm like, okay, that'll be interesting. I'm very interested to see. I'm not a big fan of his yet, but he seems to be, showing us some videos anyway that with some pretty significant capabilities. So it'll be interesting to see if he ends up being, a major player in the space.
I don't know. I haven't heard a single original thought from him. I have
Okay.
not heard him say a single thing that's not echoing what Elon says. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and honestly, like every video he's made, you can see where there was an edit, even when they try really hard to make sure there wasn't an edit. Um, and I think they have the wrong. I think they've really underestimated the hands. So I don't
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
think that where he may have been making a big mistake and doesn't know it yet is his 100% verticality. He says that they are going to make all of the uh,
Actuators.
actuators. Elon isn't going to make all of his actuators.
Um,
He's outsourcing some of the actuators.
is he? Which ones?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's already been said. That was said on a video. And so they are not going to make, they're going to, they've designed them all because they didn't exist, but he's going to some top actuator company to do the
Oh, I see what you're saying.
production of some, not all, of the actuators. Well, I don't know if you know this or not. You may not have, I may not have ever said this while you were on before. I wrote an article for Inc. magazine about 30 years ago on going from virtual to vertical because my
Mm.
factory was at one point 100% virtual. We didn't make one thing. We didn't even have a building. We were sharing a building with one of my other companies. And we went from virtual to almost 100% vertical. But you know what? We went back and after 4 or 5 years, we decided, you know what? There was a cap manufacturer down the street that could make the caps about the same price as we could, and we wouldn't have all the hassles and problems of making them. And so we switched our cap manufacturing to him instead of doing them in-house. So you never know. Sometimes it's better to not go 100% virtual and I mean vertical. And I think on actuators, he may be making a serious mistake trying to do that himself.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think they'll find a lot of issues there, but I can forgive that part of it. I don't think that I don't know. I just don't think that it's not even the company, it's him. I don't.
You don't have a good feeling.
Yeah, it just like I want to like him too is the problem. you know, but it's hard because every word he says, every sentence, he's just. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's me
Yeah.
because here's the truth.
Oh, you're not. Oh, you're not the only one. Other people feel that way.
Well, again, like I believe in like challenging your own perspectives.
Yeah, sure.
So my perspective is something feels off about him. I feel like everything he says is just a repetition of what Elon has already said before.
Mhm.
And to me, like it just smells weird.
Mhm.
And it's like we have not heard any new point of view from him that would be novel
Mhm.
that that differs or is a tangent to what Elon has said or we've heard from Tesla. And so literally everything from talking about the actuators to talk about vertically integrated to talk about the challenges to the market. Like literally, it's almost like he's a verbatim
Yeah, yeah,
broken record of Elon.
yeah.
But then again, if I believe as an individual that Elon is right, well, then why wouldn't he say the exact same things if Elon is right? And so that's where I catch myself in this like infinite loop of, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
But again, it goes back to the videos that were,
right.
and then even now when it's just some of the language he uses where he talks about how he, I don't know, thinks that they're the leaders and all
Yeah,
this. And I know Elon says the same thing, but like, come on, no one was making the humanoid other than Boston Dynamics until Tesla did it.
right.
And then since then, like literally, it looks like everyone's been copying them. Even their humanoid looks like Tesla's. The
Right.
video they just released about their shop, like, okay, nobody even thought of having a head the way Optimus had until Tesla. Now everybody's all of a sudden trying to copy the same. So it's like, I don't know. It's just something feels off, Randy. I can't put my finger on it, but I do want to like the guy. I won't
Yeah,
lie.
yeah. You can't put your finger on it. Yeah, finger would also be, yeah. Either you could use finger or figure, and they
Figure,
would
yeah,
both be funny. Yeah, because
yeah,
finger because anyway,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, you want to find out where the numbers are going because everybody, will be wondering, if we're going to have an impact on the market tonight, the show, So
Oh, I already did.
we already did. We haven't even
Tesla's
put
up
it up yet.
1%. You're
What is
welcome.
what
Tesla's up 1%. You're welcome.
is up 1%? All right, in the after hours. Well, cool. All right, that's good. Made up for the 5% it was down, right?
That's right. That's how I like it.
Well, what
Up
about those?
1%,
Well,
down 5.
what about those bonds?
What about them?
What about them? 10-year up eight
All
tenths.
irrelevant until tomorrow.
It's up 8/10. So we're under 4.3 at least, but we're nowhere near where I want it to be. One up 1 basis point at this point changed while we were standing here. 2 month also up 1 basis point, and the 2 year up 0.4 of a basis point. So in general, everybody's up this morning, or this evening rather, in anticipation of what's going to happen tomorrow. And we both say we agree, no cut, dovish, right?
I mean, I think the 10 years say no cut, right?
That's probably true. That's probably what it's saying. So then we got the oil, which has been flirting around with $66 now pretty much all week, up or down a penny or two, 50 cents, up, down, up, down. So no real change there. Um, so we keep saying it's going to go into the 50s, but it's been hanging out in this space. Natural gas did break over $4. I mean, did break under $4 at one point, but it's back over just barely at 405 right now, up 0.07%. We gonna see any changes in the energy space anytime soon?
Probably not with the U.S. attacks on the Houthis and still uncertainty between Russia and Ukraine. Um, no, I think we kind of hang out here.
Will Trump finish the job with the Houthis,
Hmm.
or will he
Hmm.
bow to international pressure?
I don't know. I don't know if you can finish it, to be honest. But I don't know. I probably would have said the same thing about ISIS, though.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Like, I don't know too much about the Houthis. Like, I don't know how organized they are. I guess. Like, do they have a central leader? Um, like,
Yeah, yeah. They're a small sect within a population of 35 million.
yeah.
But they manage, even though they're a small sect, they're kind of controlling it,
Hmm.
controlling that population group, kind of, I guess, like Hamas and Palestine. The people put up with it, maybe
Yeah.
even
Exactly.
support them in a way. But I think it's just a criminal enterprise, basically. Gold broke through the 3,000. Larry and I took
Sure
our
did.
victory lap already. Sitting at 3040 now, 3,040.
How much higher is it gonna go?
I don't know. I feel like I, there's so many people trying to buy gold right now. I don't know if there's got it, but there's always that point, right? There's always that point where it gets over its skis, and has to come down. So what is that number? I don't know. Silver also broke through that $34. And so we're at $34 and 65 cents. Same thing. It now seems to be kind of in lockstep with gold, above all-time highs. Uh, Silver is an all-time high with an asterisk because the Hunt brothers, or whoever it was, yeah, I think it was the Hunts, tried to corner the silver market, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So it got up to 38 during that period, but then crashed immediately when they were unsuccessful. Um, Copper broke through also to an all-time high, over $5. Never been there.
That's not good for EVs.
Not good for data centers. Not that that's going to be the big expense on the data center, but
Yeah.
what do you think the dollar is going to do now?
Ooh, well, that's a interesting question. Um,
It's been off a bit.
yeah, I kind of think we continue to have a strong dollar, though.
Yeah. I think Trump wants a strong dollar.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Bitcoin 82.7 also stuck, been stuck for quite a number of days now, kind of in that range.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about like test stock and everything, and while I hate to admit it, there's a strong correlation between Tesla and Bitcoin.
Yes.
Um, Again, I hate to admit it.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't so, but you know, we had on March 11th, we hit a low in Bitcoin. Well, a recent
Yeah.
low.
Recent low. Yeah.
And so I don't know. Keep an eye on Bitcoin to see what Tesla does. Let me see. When it was. I'm not even joking. Let's see. When was Tesla's recent low? It was
Today.
on. No, no, no.
Oh, yeah, the 217, 218.
Correct.
It was
Oh, there it is. March 11th.
okay. Yeah.
Same day. So
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah. It's crazy. It's been noted. It's been noted by several folks. So yeah.
yeah. So the nice thing about Bitcoin though is it's open 24/7. So
Right.
you can kind of watch that as a proxy for what
Yeah.
Tesla will do.
Yeah. Have you used that?
I haven't, but I'm aware of it.
Have you used LLMs yet as a way to make any stock picks
I have
or
not.
stock and decisions?
No. Have you?
Not yet.
Yeah. No. I mean, okay, that's not true. I have used it to ask what current sentiment is on a given stock as they go into earnings.
Okay. All right.
But it's really just telling me what the sentiment is on X,
Okay.
So
Okay. We've got the equities pretty much flat, slightly up. All three up 0.06. I've never seen that before. Exactly, 0.06 on all three. So yeah, there you
that's good.
go. That's where we are going into tomorrow on the equities. Well,
Yeah,
as
I'm
always. Now you used to ask me a question at the end of the show, and we fell away from that, idea. I don't know what happened.
oh, what's for dinner?
What for dinner? Good question. Good question. Okay. Well, any fleeting ideas of wisdom that are floating around in your head right now that you have never exposed us to before?
Well, I'll just let you know. I don't talk too much about what I do with options and stuff, but I will tell you that just to give you an idea of like where my head's at right now, I sold some puts in the ES Mini S&P. For those of you who don't know, that's a future contract in the S&P 500. So I sold some puts there at 5,200, which is about another 9% drop from where we are now.
Hmm.
So in other words, gives myself a little bit of breathing room there. But at the same time, that's, if I'm selling puts, I mean, I'm bullish. But I think there's a good chance that we move higher
Right.
sooner than later.
Hmm.
So just share a little bit of what I'm doing there.
Okay. All right. And a 9% drop would put us really close to a bear.
You're essentially a 20% drop,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
All right.
so
That's what you're
that's
thinking. So not going to become
yeah,
a bear market. Yeah. That's
no,
your bet.
no, exactly. And my, that would have to happen in the next 40 days
I see.
as
Okay.
well, right? Because that's when expiration is. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I never know. I just feel like I really think that the market is going to start to price in the finality of the whole tariff drama. And I
Hmm.
really hope that's what happens because it's such I think we're tired of talking about tariffs. Like, all right, we get it. It should be priced in by now. Like, let's move
Yeah.
on.
So I go back and forth. You talked about you going back and forth a few minutes ago. I go back and forth between whether Trump ginned up the tariff thing way bigger than it was, not only for international consumption in order to get it done, his normal way of creating chaos in order to get people off balance so that he could then, have some kind of advantage, or whether he also was perfectly happy to have a little slowdown in the economy to get the interest rates down.
Well, I'll tell you, he didn't have a choice because what happened was as he was getting Mexico and Canada, and they were saying, okay, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that, he would delay the tariffs. And that happened a few times. And then all of a sudden, pundits on the media, namely on the other side, were saying, oh, Trump's never going to do anything. He's
Yeah.
all talk. He's just using it as a threat. That's all it is. And is once the person you're negotiating with believes that you're not going to do something, you're just going to threat, and I just have to tell you what you want to hear, and I don't actually have to do anything, well, then that doesn't work anymore. And at that point, you have to be like, all right, tomorrow.
Yeah,
And he had to ramp it up
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because you need your negotiating partners to believe that you're serious and you're not just saying things or just for show.
yeah. Not just you got to find you got to have the cards, as he says. He's
Exactly.
always saying that. You guys don't even have the cards.
And they don't. It's
Yeah,
it's it's
yeah,
it's the truth. They
it's
don't.
obvious, right? All right. Well, on that note, we'll look forward to seeing what the Fed does tomorrow. I'll be watching very carefully. I'm sure you will be too. And to all of you out there, I hope that you can hit the like if you like this guy. You don't even have to like me. Hit the like button because you like Nicholas Gibbs and all of his wild and crazy theories, which
And if
today,
you don't
which seem
like it anyways,
which today seem to confusingly seem to be about the same as mine. I don't know. Or mine were the same as his.
future looks bright.
It's right. It's been great talking to you.